What's up, everybody? How are we? Okay, continuing on with our discussion about Mean Girls. Earlier in the week, we talked about the importance of having a mean girl in our lives and why putting that label on them is really not helpful when it comes to navigating through difficult relationships and difficult people, because we've all been that mean girl before, whether or not we've actually been the one being mean to someone else, or we've kind of joined in that group mentality, kind of that ganging up, or if we simply just have that inner mean girl voice ringing really loud in our ears each day and being super hard on ourselves. So then we moved from there to talk about the best way that we can show up for our girls when they're dealing with difficult situations and difficult people, and that is basically just holding the space, allowing them to have that experience, connecting with them very much in their where they are, meeting them where they are, kind of. And then yesterday we talked about sitting in the uncomfortable emotions and how most of us aren't very good at that. Yet that's the number one predictor of success in life, is how well we're able to manage our emotions, which simply means gaining some control over them so that they don't control us. And a lot of times we make the mistake of thinking that if we kind of avoid a negative emotion, if we don't really give it much attention, that it will somehow go away. And usually what ends up happening is we just sort of start layering on feeling bad. Okay, so before we start on today's topic, which is probably my favorite in this whole process, because this is where we're going to start feeling some empowerment, let me share this with my folks here in my group. All right, I feel like I'm really close to the camera. Am I really close to the camera? I guess I'm going to see here in just a second. Oh, there I am. Okay, here we go. Ready? Confident moms raising confident daughters. If you're watching these videos and you're not in that group, come on over. Go to Confident Moms Raising Confident Daughters and just ask to join the group, and I'll let you right in there. I want you in that private community. We do a few extra things. I post a little bit extra in there, and I like to think it's a really cool community. Okay, so moving on. After you have identified how you're feeling about a difficult situation, and you've made that, remember, you've made that thought feeling connection, right? You've not given the power to the other person or the situation and saying, oh, this is the reason I feel this way is because he or she has been mean or exclusive or whatever. No, because that's what I wanted to talk about today, is this victim mentality that a lot of us get in and stay in. We kind of cruise in that range. We sort of, like I've mentioned before, get up and go out about our day and wait for things to sort of happen to us and pick up our social cues from other people. And we get in this victim mentality. We give them the power of their words and their actions to determine how we feel about ourselves. So what I want to do is flip that and remember that it's really coming from the meaning that we give to other people's words and actions, what we make it mean about ourselves. And the reason I love that step and why that's so important is because that puts us in a place of ownership. I own my own thinking. I own the story that I tell to myself about myself. I choose, I decide, right? And when I talk in that language, what that tells me is I can choose anything. I can choose to think anything about myself or the situation. And that's really coming from a place of empowerment versus a victim mentality. Okay, anytime we give someone else control over how we feel, we're in victim mode. So then we have to wait for them to choose another way of being or another way of acting before we can feel better about ourselves. No. Okay, confidence comes from knowing that we're responsible for how we want to feel and how we want to show up in situations. That's key too, okay? Confidence comes from also knowing that we're not perfect and really owning those all the parts of ourselves, right? Knowing and embracing every part of ourselves. So, knowing how we feel in the moment and knowing how we want to feel instead and trusting that we can get our own selves there is magic. Magic, people. I'm telling you, I don't get on here every morning and sweat through my clothes to not give you really, really good nuggets that you can use right now. Okay? So, how do we switch from victim to owning our own emotions and being responsible? Well, we make sure that when we're not feeling very good, when we're feeling excluded, frustrated, sad, angry, whatever, we give ourselves a minute to sit in that emotion and then we ask ourselves, what am I thinking? What are the thoughts I'm having right now that's causing me to feel this way? Okay, we make that connection. Now, once you've gone through those two steps, and again, at first, it's going to take a little while because your brain is not wired to respond this way. Our brain thinks it's protecting us. It thinks it's being efficient. It thinks it's going to the old go-to ways of handling things. It thinks it's being helpful, but really it's kind of sabotaging us. It's chipping away at our confidence. So spend some time making that thought-feeling connection and owning how you feel. Saying, I'm choosing to think this about myself in this situation, which is causing me to feel X. Then, once you've really bought into that, you can say, how do I want to feel? One of the best techniques that I use with my young clients and my older clients too is when they tell me about a situation that's happening in their lives, I'm like, that's an awesome story. Love that story. Now, tell it to me again and cast yourself in a different role. So, most of us wouldn't choose if we were writing a story or a script or a play or, kind of casting ourselves in a movie. We wouldn't choose the victim role, right? We wouldn't choose to be that person that's constantly put down or left out or whatever. We would choose to be in a different role. Maybe it's not the heroine. Maybe it's not the person who comes in and saves the day. And it's probably not even the person who's going to come in and change the villain's behavior and make them have an aha moment. I mean, that could happen, but that's probably not our role either, right? So we've got to find that sweet spot. We don't want to be the victim. And we also don't want to be the person that's in charge of changing someone else, right? Because both of those are coming from a place of fear. Both of them are coming from a place of scarcity. Both of them are coming from a place of, I'm really dependent on this person either getting the memo and changing their ways or changing the way they treat me so that I can feel better. No. What we want to do is write ourselves into the role of the person who shows up and says, I'm responsible for my own feelings. I get to choose today how I want to feel. I get to choose how I want to show up in this situation. And that doesn't mean we're going to move through it perfectly. It doesn't mean we're not going to screw up. It doesn't mean we're not going to still be rejected, right? But what it's going to mean is we're going to be more authentic and our tribe is going to better be able to find us when we're showing up in that way. And so it's really important in this step as we're helping girls deal with conflict, deal with mean girl situations, which are going to come up all the time throughout her life, right? We can tell her that she's always the one responsible for her own emotions. Let me tell you the two reasons why she doesn't believe that right now. The first is our brains aren't wired to think this way. If you think about your phone, when you first get it, it has all these default settings, right? And you have to go in and you have to set your phone or whatever new appliance you get or whatever. You have to go in and you have to customize it to what your needs are. This is the same thing with our brain, okay? Our brains are always going to default to the negative. They're always going to default to judgment. They're always going to default to compare and despair, okay? This is why this very screen that I'm talking on right now, and I know the irony that I'm using social media to get this message out, but this is why social media is really a bugaboo for that, because it really plays into the natural wiring of our brains. Okay, so we have to go in and we have to change those default settings. That's number one. Here's the second reason why our girls think that they can control how other people think of them and that other people have an influence over how they feel. And I'm getting ready to kind of go in with a little bit of a sharp edge here, so prepare yourselves. Moms, dads, grandparents, teachers, grown-ups that are raising young people. Here's where we're delivering a message that we think is helpful, but I don't think, now that I'm kind of in this work, I see where we've done our kids a disservice, okay? When they're little and we tell them when they're going to preschool or they're going to first grade or whatever, we tell them to use their nice words. We tell them to include everybody. We tell them to, be kind to people, to do kind things, clean your plate, hug your grandma, right? We tell them all these things. And of course, it's because we want to raise compassionate, nice young people, obviously. But what we're doing instead is we're delivering them a message that says, by you acting and behaving in certain ways, you have the power to make other people feel a certain way, right? So then what and that kind of makes sense. If I'm nice, then I can make someone else feel good. But here's what happens. I'm also teaching them that other people, their behaviors and their actions influence how I feel, right? It goes both ways. And so it's very confusing to a young person when they get to a certain age and we're like, just be yourself. If they don't like you, if they don't like it, that's their problem, right? And we're like, whoa, hold on. We've sent a couple different messages. So the message that we need to start sending to our young women and guys too is, you are the only one responsible for how you feel. So when you are kind, when you are compassionate, when you are understanding, when you are giving, right? All of those emotions feel good within you, right? It doesn't matter how anyone else feels. If you're feeling good, if you're feeling like you're spending time and emotions that feel good to you, that's up to you. How someone else feels about it is up to them, right? This is why we are the common denominator. The reason we know we're the common denominator in all of our relationships is everyone responds to us in different ways. That's because they're interacting with us from their point of view, right? We don't, if we weren't the common if we were the common denominator, am I saying that right? Oh my gosh, math. If we were, okay, hold on, I'm getting to it. The point being is that everyone who interacts with us is coming to us from their own background, their own life experiences, whatever is relative to them, right? So every experience they are having, just like every experience we are having, has really nothing to do with the people around us and the people around them. It has everything to do with how we're viewing things, right? So we, meaning me, am not in control. Just like of the 5 people that are probably going to watch this video, they're all going to take away something different. They're not going to take away the same thing. They're not going to think the same thing about me, right? It's because it's up to you guys. It's up to each of us as individuals. I have no control over that. But somehow we teach our young women that they can influence how other people think and feel about them. And I'm saying no, that's not the case. I think I didn't do a very good job with that. But that's okay, because tomorrow's another day, another video. All right, so the point is empowerment. The point is taking yourself out of victim mentality and putting yourself in a place of control. And the first step is owning your own thinking and owning your own feeling, right? Let everyone else off the hook. No one else wants that job. No one wants the job. Come on, think about it. We're drawn to people who take care of themselves, right? Who require very little of us and who also make us feel really good when we're around them. They're not making us feel good about it. We're feeling good because it's bringing out good stuff in us. Does that make sense? I don't know, guys. It's late in the week. We're rounding out the school year. It's tough out there, and I'm just doing the best I can. So I hope that's helpful. Tomorrow I'll be back to finish up the week. Listen to me right now. I'm doing these lives from Coach Betsy Smith. I share them to confident moms raising confident daughters. There's some good stuff happening in that group. Head over there. I also have a weekly email that goes out. I think it's helpful. I do. I mean, I can't be spot on all the time with my writing, but for the most part, I think it's pretty helpful. And I think I usually add some nuggets in there that are useful. So get on my subscriber list. You can go to my website, coachbetsy.com. You can hit the Get Help button, and you'll get on my list to get my weekly emails. What else? Listen to me right now. I know this is a lot. There's a lot happening right now. I know this is a tough time of year to get people thinking about summertime. You're thinking about it, but you're thinking that, it's just right across the finish line and let's just get there. Be Confident Summer Workshop Series. If you are local in Louisville, if you are nearby, if you have a rising 7th or 8th grade girl, I have developed a Be Confident Summer Workshop Series, which is 4 workshops that are going to hit the topics that are hot buttons right now with your daughter. Listen to me. Listen, Linda. They are in a sweet spot of middle school. They've got 6th grade behind them, so they know kind of what they're up against. They know what they want help with. They know that they want real connections with girls. They know that they're going to be switching up some friendships this year and next. They know what's coming as far as high school, right? I need you guys to sign your girls up for this workshop series. It is all my best work. It is everything that I know, and going to be even more, because between now and the first workshop, I'm going to know more, right? I'm going to spoil them rotten with gifts, games, activities. I'm bringing older girls in. They're going to talk about things that are very relevant, and we're going to do things in a way that are fun and energizing. And frankly, really, those are going to be the best 8 hours of her summer, because those are going to be, I'm going to be meeting all of her needs in these workshops. So if you don't have a 7th and 8th grade daughter and you're still watching this video, but you know people who do, please pass this information along to them, because it's designed to just make the hugest contribution I know how to these young women, to send them back in August feeling like they're ready to go, feeling like they are looking for ways to overcome obstacles, that they are ready to face challenges that are surely going to face them, and grow in their confidence, knowing the tools and strategies that they need. Okay? All right. Thanks for hanging with me today. Sorry, it was rough in spots, wasn't it? It was rough. Okay. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Toodles.